Hi, everyone. Lauren Waterworth from Nova Swimming here. I had the opportunity to interview Townley Haas. When I say I have the opportunity, I mean that I pestered Townley and talked him into doing an interview with me. He was actually very kind about it and was happy to do it. But he gave a lot of insight into his mental game. It's 16 questions. Hopefully, it's helpful to swimmers out there needing some inspiration and some thoughts right now. It kind of goes along with a lot of what we've been doing with working on our mental game, since we have this chance to do a lot of work on it that we don't normally have. So listen to his interview, think about what he says, what he does, leave some comments. Thanks again to Townley for being so generous with your time and your thought. And I hope to see everybody soon. Everyone's interested in you, Townley.
Not that cool.
But so a lot of people interview Olympians and college swimmers, and I'm sure you've been asked a million times what kind of sets you do, or how Eddie programmed, or how you do taper. And so that it's super interesting, and that's a lot of what our day to day is as coaches, is programming. But I think that there's a lot of questions that aren't being asked that maybe are a little more insightful, because the people that are getting to a super elite level, they were doing the same sets as everybody else. Like, you won NCAAs doing the same sets as everybody else.
Yeah.
You won NCSAs doing the same sets as everybody else. So like, that's not the whole answer, right? So I just feel like, what's the other information? So my goal is to just kind of get some insight into how you think and how you set yourself up mentally to be successful, and swimming's hard to push through. You've been pushing through being at practices and lifting weights and going to meets and competing at a really high level for a long time. And that's hard, not just physically.
Yeah.
So I shared these questions with you, but so we'll just kind of go through them. There might be some that speak to you a little bit more, where you want to, explain more, and some where you're just like, I don't know, that's not really, I don't really have a great answer. So how much of we're just calling it game, how much of your game is mental?
I would say like not that much, to be honest. It's very easy for me to kind of clear my head and not think about anything, which I think helps a lot and is something that a lot of people can't do. So it's definitely been, harder to answer, not just your questions, but other people have asked me, and I, it's such an easy answer to say, well, I just clear my head, and but I don't know how I do it. I don't know why I'm able to do it, but
have you always been able to do that?
Yeah, as far as I can remember, it's never really I don't really get that nervous, and if I do, it'll be like the 2 nights before, where I'm laying in the hotel and I'm like, oh my god, I'm about to swim in the Olympics, and then the day of, I'm like, I'm fine, I'm happy to be there, I'm having fun, like all my friends are there, type of stuff like that. So it's weird, because on one hand, that is mental, being able to clear your head and stuff, but it's like I also don't think about that much.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You're saying not fight that hard for it.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense. I don't think that means that it's not. I think you think, because maybe that trait comes a little bit easier, that it isn't, that it's not that much of your sport. But I think your ability to do that, though, is still the difference between you and a lot of other people.
Yeah.
What was your best day ever in swimming?
That was a tough one. I thought about it for a while, and I still not sure I have one. I think I mean, if I had to pick one, it would be the relay in 2016. Because that was just incredible. But then individually, that was tougher. Because I was really happy with my world's performance in 17, getting second, and then um, 2016 NCAA Sooner Free, 2018 NCAA Sooner Free. There was a lot, but I think I guess the best one would be the relay in
Yeah,
16.
that's what I would have guessed. But so it's
Yeah.
interesting other ones are up there too. What was your worst day ever in swimming?
Um, I think the 200 this past year at NCAA's.
Okay.
That was awful.
Okay. So 200 free at NCAA's was one of your best ones too.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the difference between those two, and how did you adjust?
Well, so 16 was it was my freshman year. I was the first, kind of the. I don't know if you saw that Swimming World article they just put out, like the changing the tuner free. So
Yeah.
that was that one, which was awesome. And then 2018 was when Blake went 129 on the relay, and then I went 129.5 2 days later, and broke that record. And then 2019, I this past year I did not. So I'd won 3 years in a row, and then I didn't win senior year.
Right.
And it was something that was a huge goal of mine. To be able to win 4 years of the tuner free, which is something not many people do. And then I didn't, and so it was terrible. I sat in the locker room for a long time afterwards, just kind of thinking about what I could have done differently, what it should I have gone out that fast in the 500 the night before, could I have trained differently and all that stuff. But it was a rough night for sure.
Yeah, that's super tough. I mean,
Yeah.
but if you achieve every goal, I guess it's not a sport. It's
Yeah,
not
exactly.
So you go back to practice after you're disappointed, you didn't do what you wanted to do your senior year. So how do you keep negative thoughts? I mean, in that moment and in other moments, you don't want to go to morning practice. You don't want to do weights. You have a meet you're feeling not prepared for.
Yeah.
If you're feeling negative, what do you do?
Try to ignore it. I think that it it can. I don't want to say help you to be negative, but sometimes just complaining a little bit, just getting it out there, is not. I don't personally think it's the worst thing to do. You know, you can we do it sometimes in practice where we're like, oh man, this is gonna suck, and then we still do it and we try our hardest, and it's just sometimes you gotta let off a little steam. But as far as the other stuff, like not complaining, I try to just remember why I'm doing what I'm doing, and focus on the long term goal that is what have been NCAA's or the Olympics or Worlds or Pan Pacs or whatever thing I'm getting ready for, and just kind of remember that while practice might be hard or 5:30 is pretty early, that when you get to the end of the summer, it'll be worth it to go to that one morning or put on a little extra weight or something like that.
Yeah, keep your big picture in mind. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. It's not what I would want to tell swimmers. Like,
No, exactly.
it's
you don't want to tell a 15-year-old that it's okay to complain. But it's finding the balance between complaining so much that it negatively impacts you, and you start thinking like that, and complaining just enough to be like, okay, I feel a little better. I got, I said one or two negative things, and now I can go back to working hard, and I, got it off my chest or something like that. So
Agree. We'll do workouts sometimes, and before we start, it's like a million burpees or something. We'll be like, oh, this is gonna be so terrible, but we're still gonna do
yeah,
it. We're still gonna try, but it's
yeah, that's like how our whole team is like that. We'll complain up a storm, and then we still beat the goal time or like do more than Ed wanted or stuff like that, um, which is like he hates it because he doesn't like negativity. But then he's also like, I don't know, you guys are just still doing it, so.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but yeah, what you're saying makes sense, and I think it's good for kids to hear that it's okay to have a negative thought and then still get after it. Like having
Yeah.
a negative thought and not trying are not necessarily connected. It's okay to
Exactly.
be yourself. So do you have anything that you say to yourself? Like an affirmation, a word, a saying, a song lyric, anything that runs through your brain?
So something Eddie has a few that have stuck with me, and they're very Eddie like, whereas they don't really make sense, but they do make sense. He always says, "Keep the main thing," which is just kind of focus on what you're here to do. Whether it's getting ready for the Olympics or Worlds or anything like that. Keep that at the front of your mind, or and that can even be used in school or something like that. Just make sure you're focusing on what you need to do. And then he also says, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and the rest will take care of itself. And I really like that one because it kind of includes your teammates and your friends and stuff like that. And that, if you're working hard and you're helping your teammates to work hard and they're helping you, it'll all work out. So I really like that one.
Yeah, those are both really good. I'm glad you shared those. Do you have a dominant thought before practice, in practice, in a meet? Do they change? You probably don't like this one because you're like, no.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think, one thing I think about is that my body can handle more than my mind can sometimes. So, like in my head, I might be like, I'm so sore. I just absolutely cannot do this. And then, yeah, I still do it. So it's not like, I'm not like constantly saying it, but it's something that I keep in the back of my head, kind of like, just because you're in pain doesn't mean that your body is going to give up or going to be done. That's a big one, I guess.
Yeah, that's great. And that's probably something you've had to, like, you started at a certain point realizing you could do it and then kept building on it.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you visualize or do mental rehearsals?
I actually got asked this yesterday, and I realized that I said no, and then I talked about how I actually do it. So my answer was not directly. I don't sit down and try to visualize or think about it. But kind of what ends up happening is I'll be like laying in bed and I'll be thinking about like how the race could go or how I want it to go or how it should go, and stuff like that. And so it's the short answer is yes, but I not like on purpose. And now that I've thought about it and that I do know I do it, I'll probably do it a little more and a little more purposeful. But it's definitely it was something that I definitely did not do, and that I am slowly doing more, I think.
Interesting. I would think that would be a part of your training, is doing things like that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, a lot of people do it, and I don't have any negative thoughts against it. it's just something that we never really did at Nova, and we never really did with Eddie. But it was something that I kind of indirectly would do, just literally just getting ready to go to bed, and I'd be like, wouldn't it be awesome if like the 200 free went like this? I went out in 40 point and came home in 44. That would be incredible. And it turned into like being more realistic and stuff like that. That it's probably something I'll definitely start working on and like actually doing. But I know a lot of people use it. I know Michael Phelps used it a lot. He talked about it a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting. You said no and then realized you did it.
Yeah. I got asked it yesterday, and I was like, no, I don't. But sometimes, I'll lay in bed and I'll think about it. And they were like, so you do it? And I was like, oh yeah, I guess I do.
Townley, that's funny. Do you have a routine that you do before meets, races, behind the blocks? So like, do you do anything, like on the 2 days before you're going to do this, or you're going to eat this meal, and then the day before you do this, and the morning of you do this, or anything like that?
Not that far in advance. I'll eat like, I usually eat pasta. I usually have a sandwich in between sessions, but it's not like, hang on, my dad's calling me. But it's not something that would like, I'd freak out if I didn't get a Jimmy John sandwich in between sessions, nothing like that. And then like right before the race, I jump up and down a few times. I'll just like stretch my shoulders. Sometimes I'll go like that. When I get on the blocks, I always take my cap and like stretch it down, like weird little things. But like other than that, no, not really. There's not like, I don't have to eat chicken Alfredo before every race or anything like that.
Okay, but you do the same stretches every time when you're behind the blocks?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I feel like you do a lot of these things, and it's a little natural for you to go through.
Yeah, it's definitely, the more I think about stuff, the more I realize I do a lot of it without thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because I do the same, like I pull my arms up behind my back, and then I like do like a different version of like the Michael Phelps thing, and then then I get on the blocks, and I didn't really realize I did it until someone pointed it out to me, and then I was like, oh yeah, I do the same thing.
All these Zoom.
I'm learning more about myself now, like with you guys, than I ever have.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, for sure.
When did you ever feel the most pressure, and how did you respond?
So that would be the relay in 16. We were like we were either in the ready room or had just walked out behind the blocks, and Phelps was like, hey, like I'm pretty tired. I've done a lot of races. Like I'm gonna need you guys to like kind of step it up a little bit. And 19-year-old Townley was like, okay, a few cuss words were said, and then like I was like, all right, I'm ready. And so I think I had the pressure of Michael Phelps being like, hey, I need you to help me out behind that race a little bit, which clearly helped me.
Yeah, that's a pretty incredible pressure to have.
Yeah, for sure. But it definitely made me swim fast, and it was something that was pretty cool to have someone like that be like, hey, I need y'all's help, basically. Not that he swam slow by any means, but he knew that he maybe wasn't at full power, and didn't want it to ruin the relay or anything like that.
Yeah, that's an awesome moment of connection for the relay, and for him to pull you up. And
yeah, for sure.
Have you done that for anyone since then?
Um, like been in his shoes?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I mean, probably. Maybe not at maybe not at a big meet like that, but definitely some dual meets where I've been pretty tired and been like, this might not be the greatest 100 free you've ever seen. So some of you some of you freshmen can step up a little bit, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, because I feel like that's how you learn that stuff sometimes.
Hmm.
All right, at NCAAs or the Olympics, what were your principal emotions when you raced?
Um,
Just like high level meet. And so, I mean, we can go through these. I feel like maybe having the specifics will help. So, were you relaxed or tense
um, Relaxed. Uh,
for every race? You've never had a race where you were behind the blocks, just like, ah.
no,
You have a magical brain, Townley.
not that I can remember.
Were you excited or anxious?
Definitely excited.
Did you fear failure or want to win?
I always want to win.
Yeah, that's a big thing for you, right? You always
Yeah,
want to win.
yeah. I always want to win. I think that helps me. That's a big part of the getting out fast, going out first, and holding on. I always want to be in front.
What do you do, feel, or say to yourself? I mean, that's probably a part of it.
That's definitely a part of it. Another one is that I know that I'm excited, but I at the same time I do feel relaxed. I know I'm ready to go. And I know that I've put in the work, the year or two or four before it. I know I'm ready to go, and that I'm gonna put in, especially finals. I'm gonna put in my full effort, and that if I do the best that I can do, and that's all that doing the best that I can do is all that I can do. And so, if that turns out that I win or that I get second or third, that I know if I put in my full effort, that I'll be happy with the swim.
Yeah, I like that. So, were you focused on the outcome or were you thinking about the process more? Like what you just said sounds more process, but wanting to win is more outcome.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know that you can focus on one and be able to do what you want to do. Because you have to know that you have to know that you did the right process to get there, but then you have to, you know, focus on the outcome to get the outcome. You can't you can't really do one or the other and be that successful. I don't think.
Okay, yeah, agreed. So the next one is how do you relate to being competitive, which we just kind of talked about. You're very competitive and you want to win all the time.
Yes.
Do you
Yes.
want to win in everything? So like if you play a video game or I don't know, play like ultimate frisbee with your friends, are you the same way or is it just with swimming?
Um, it depends on the game we're playing. We actually the other night we went outside and played soccer, to the best that a bunch of swimmers can play soccer. And so like that, I didn't really care. I know I'm not good at soccer. There was a very low chance that I was going to win. It was just to get outside really and do something. But then there's video games that I get very competitive and get not upset, but I definitely want to win those and stuff like that. So it's very dependent, but usually I do want to win.
Have you always been like that?
I think so. To The best that I can remember, I know I was like that in high school, and I would assume I was like that when I was younger, but you know,
We'll
I
ask
don't
Drew.
remember.
We'll ask Drew that one.
Yeah, Drew or my mom.
Um, how do you control your emotions?
I don't know. That's like the main question that everyone has. I think a big part of it is knowing that, like knowing what I did to get there, the work I put in, and the in the water, in the weight room, going to bed early, eating right, uh, you know, uh, drinking less, stuff like that. Is something that I know I've done, and that I have confidence in myself that I have done it, and that when you get to the big show or whatever you want to call it, there's nothing more you can do. You're there. You've done everything you can do. There's no reason to freak out about what you were doing or what you could have done, because it's over. You're there. I think it's something that is really hard for people, is kind of realizing that, or not realizing, but being able to just be like, I'm here. I can't do anything about it now. I've put in all the work. The only thing I can do is swim the race and do the best I can. Um, so I definitely think about that a lot, but it's something that's way easier said than done. And I truly don't know why or how my brain works like that.
Well, it sounds a little bit like you trust the process, you trust your coach, you trust the programming, you trust that you're ready. So you don't
Hmm.
have as many emotions coming up for you when you go to these meets that you're having to control. Like, am I ready? Did I do this? You're just trusting the
Hmm.
process and the people around you and going there confident.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And that's a good thing for people to kind of think about. Is it
Hmm.
that you're not controlling your emotions at the meet, or is it that you're not doing what you're supposed to do leading up to the meet and that's giving you anxiety?
Yeah, which I think is, you know, it's definitely both for some people. I know people that I know put in the work, and that I know are ready, that are still just freaking out at the meet. And it could be their third trip to Worlds, and they're like super anxious. And I'm like, you're ready. You don't have to be scared. Um,
Oh, well,
so
they're
it's
lucky.
definitely,
They're lucky to have you there to talk through
yeah.
how to do it. Have you ever finished a race and felt it was reflective of your potential?
Um,
Like where you got out and you were like, that was it. That was what I could do.
that's a tough one. Um, I would say either at the time, the 129.5. Um, I think that was probably all I had.
Okay.
And then now I don't think, I think I could go like from, I think I could have gone faster in 2019, if I, whatever, had done different stuff. And then I think the relay at Pan Packs, um, where I caught the Australian guy. I think that was all I had. I truly don't know if I could have done any more in that race.
That's good.
But
I feel like it's
yeah,
exciting probably. You swim so much and getting taper right
yeah,
and getting big meets
hmm,
right. And just there's
yeah,
so many times where you think if I had done these things different and it can just be tough.
yeah. Like NCAA's, it was a big. I was like, what if I had gone out like a second slower in the 500, and maybe not have killed myself quite as much, and I could have gone, at least won the 200, maybe not gone 129 again or 128 or whatever I thought I could have gone. But, there's always a what if or a bunch of what ifs.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Yeah, so
I
it's
think
nice
I
to have
think
memory.
those two. Yeah. Maybe the relay in 16 as well. I think that was all I had.
I think I already know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it. Do you ever have self-defeating thoughts or behaviors?
No,
That's
I
awesome.
don't think so.
Good. We need to start like a Townley psychology program.
I know. It's so like the problem is I don't know how to explain so much of how my brain works.
Well, so you're just going to keep doing 8 Zoom meetings a week and you're going to figure it out pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm gonna learn about myself by other people telling me.
All right.
Me
Last
saying
question.
something and then being like, "Oh, so you do? Oh, okay."
What progressed you from winning NCSAs to winning NCAAs to winning a gold medal? I.e., what did you learn, change? And obviously, this is more big picture.
Yeah, I think um, going to college was a big one. I think another thing is just kind of watching the older guys and learning from them. I truly had no idea what to expect going into NCAAs. It really is unlike any other meet. But just watching the older guys that have been there be pretty calm and know what they're getting into and know what they're doing definitely helps me be able to just be like, yeah, we'll be okay. There's no reason to like freak out. There was a lot of people, but it was a lot of fun. And then same, going up the line, just watching how Phelps or any of those guys kind of treated the Olympics, and not to say that they treated it like it was less because it was his 5th time or whatever, but just him not freaking out helps other people. Not freaking out helps me just kind of know that I'll be okay and stuff like that.
All right. You made it through all 16 questions pretty casually.
Yeah.
No sweating, no notes.
No, they weren't bad at all.
Okay, good. All right. Well, I'm gonna let you go. It's been like an hour. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this, though.
Yeah, no problem.
I know you have a full Zoom schedule these days.
Yes, for real. I don't think I have another one today.
Okay, good.
Probably play a lot of video games, but
yeah, you don't want to get behind on those.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, it was good catching up with you.
Yeah, I will. I'll be in Richmond in 2 days.
All right. Well, hopefully I'll see you then.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Bye, Townley.